Hello, everybody. Welcome to your weekly On Purpose Breakthrough. And we are going to be starting something new here in our group. As I mentioned at the beginning of this year, my intention really was to connect all of you as much as possible to hear some of the things that you're doing. As you know, last March, this month, that we have been able to hear more about what some of the members in our group are doing, really some inspiring things that some women are doing just for this past Women's History Month and International Women's Day that has passed. And in addition to that, to bring on some of you monthly and hear what you're doing in the world and how you are being on purpose in your life and your work, I would love to support you in whatever challenges you may be facing. As we know, this is a time of great change. And so that being said, I'm going to start offering a free coaching session with me, which will be here streamed live in the group. So that way, all of you can get some transmission of healing or inspiration, because I really do believe no matter where we are in the world, no matter what it is that we are going through, essentially we all are going through the same thing. And I would just love to be able to support as many of you as I can. So if that's something that you feel resonates with you and you're being called to get some support, some love and some guidance right now in your life or in your work, I would be happy to support you in that. So if that's something that you're interested in, please do let me know by sending me a private message, and we'll have a chat and see if it's a good fit and get you booked into my calendar. So without further ado, I'm just going to bring on the lovely Jessica, who's here today. Hello, Jessica.
Hi, Leslie.
And where are you joining us from today?
I'm in Cairns, Australia.
Beautiful. Okay, so I just want to acknowledge you for being on here and for being on and having this conversation with me and allowing yourself to be seen by your fellow collective members. And just so you know, this time is really for you, and really get to the front side of whatever it is that you are being challenged with. How does that sound?
Sounds great. I also wanted to say thank you very much for your time and for offering this. I was very excited
My
to meet you
pleasure.
today.
My pleasure. So let's go ahead and just start with a short centering process. So let's, if you feel comfortable to do so, go ahead and close your eyes. And just taking some deep conscious breaths just to release any tension from the day. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And to open your mouth, release. Good. One more deep inhale. And release. Beautiful. One more, just like that. Inhale. And release. Good. Just allowing yourself now to fully become present, just by bringing awareness to your breath and not trying to change it in any way. See if you can begin to notice. Good. And just take a moment to acknowledge yourself for being here today, for being on this call, for making how you feel and your happiness a priority. Really feel into that quality of self-acknowledgement, honoring all that you are in this moment, all that you have been, and all that you are becoming. Let that land right into your heart. And we'll just take a moment to call in our guides of the highest truth and compassion to be present during this call today. We ask that whatever comes forward is for the highest good of Jessica. And when you are ready, just keeping your eyes closed, bowing your head. And when you are ready, gently opening your eyes so that the first thing you see is yourself. And when you're ready, coming back into this space. I'm just going to invite you to just do a 2-word check-in. 2 words to describe how you're feeling in this moment right now.
Peaceful and paused.
What was the last one? Paused?
Paused, yeah.
Paused,
like
okay.
There's been a pause, yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, peaceful and paused. Beautiful. Okay. So just to let you know, if you see my eyes go down, it's just because I'm just taking some notes just so I can track you. And so I'd love to know, as you come here today, what is your intention for this session? How can I support you?
So my intention at the moment is to receive guidance so that I can feel more confident in some of the big changes that I've been making recently. I'm taking quite a few steps to change my life, and I'm struggling a little bit with feeling confident with the choices I'm making.
Okay. So would you like to tell me more about these big changes, if we can just get a little bit curious on what's happening present for you?
Yeah, so first things, obviously I've moved to Cairns in Australia. So it's a very new environment, and it's been quite difficult to leave our families behind in Europe, struggling. My husband and I both have had family members pass away of COVID, and it's just been a bit, the guilt is quite difficult to shake off. I'm also used to working healthcare before, but I've just enrolled in university to study a Bachelor of Arts, majoring in anthropology and digital visual arts. So yeah, that's a huge change as well. And I guess also I'm making a really conscious effort because I've been quite unwell for quite a long time, and I have struggled with chronic illness, to learn to prioritize my needs above everything. But I struggle to be confident with that as well. I when I set boundaries, I feel like I might need to backtrack on them, and I feel guilty.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I think those are the main things.
Well, thank you for sharing, Jessica. Thank you for setting that context and for sharing so vulnerably. And I so honor you for being able to feel the full breadth of what's happening right now during this time of great change, and feeling like you're being pulled in different directions, like your life with your husband, and then also your family. So just want to acknowledge you for being here and for sharing that. So just going back to this lack of confidence or setting boundaries, but feeling you have to backtrack. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes. So I've recently set some boundaries that were quite important for our home, with some people who we live with. And there was, they were just quite surprised, for, just me saying things like, I need to know when someone comes to my home for a visit, or that I don't want people who don't live in my home to let themselves into my home. So, I guess I went into the conversation with the idea that my request would be well received, because I see them as fairly reasonable, but they really weren't. And yeah, I had a really anxious week where I wasn't sure if I was doing the wrong thing, or if I was feeling anxious because I was being selfish.
Okay, and these are people that are still living with you now, or?
At the moment, yeah,
Okay.
2 people are, and it's around a family member with a baby that they bring over to stay a few weeks a night. But
Okay.
they hadn't been discussed with us.
And this whole thing about backtracking on boundaries, do you see that anywhere else in your life in addition to these people that are living with you currently?
I guess I don't, because I don't have a huge amount of practice setting them in the first place.
Mm,
So it's quite a new thing for me to do.
okay. Okay. Mhm. Okay. So I'm hearing that setting boundaries is new to you. So not much experience on setting those and the repercussions of that, or how it resonates with in your relationships. Okay. And then if we can just backtrack a little bit on this illness that you had mentioned, would you be able to share more about that? What is it that you have been
Yeah.
experiencing, for how long?
So I've always had chronic asthma, and I was a very sick child growing up. I then hit puberty and things were a bit better, but I started having pretty bad gut issues, and I got misdiagnosed. Anyway, now I've been diagnosed with diverticular disease, which I'm quite young to have. Essentially, you have pockets in your intestines because the walls are not staying strong. And I was very, very sick in 2019 in Australia for a year in bed. It's just really elevated inflammation markers. I went back to Europe to see some doctors, and that's when we met when I was there. And I still don't have a diagnosis for that, but I have issues with, I have symptoms of autoimmunity, and I'm also on antidepressants at the moment, because when I was really unwell in Australia, I was left, just quite literally scared that I would die, and I wouldn't know what was wrong.
So I'm feeling some tenderness around this issue. Would you be willing to unpack this a little bit more during this call? Okay. Yeah. So you mentioned that when you were younger, can you actually identify how young you were when the health issues started?
um, it was, I was literally a week old. Um,
Oh.
yeah, I had my first asthma attack. I was, while I was still hospitalized from birth. Um, and I kind of, I was in and out of hospital maybe a couple of weeks in, a couple of weeks out, until I was about 13 years old.
Until you were 13, in and out of the hospital.
Yes.
Okay. That feels heavy here. So I just want you to breathe into that. Just inhale and release. Yeah, it feels heavy over here. Okay. And when you were 13, what happened then?
That is just something that happened when I hit puberty, that my asthma just got much better. And I was off my asthma medication and completely out of hospital until my early 20s, really.
Okay. And so can I just ask, what was happening at the time that your mother was pregnant with you?
So she was 16 when she fell pregnant with me. She came from a very difficult, challenging background. Her partner left her when he found out that she was pregnant. Um, and she got diagnosed with TB in labor when she was delivering me. So quite a lot for her.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a lot. So the labor itself, well, the pregnancy and the labor, just it feels, it was a lot. It's a lot for any 16-year-old. Yeah. And how was that for her after she gave birth to you? Like, what was the Like, was she with her parents, and then they helped raise you? Or can you tell me more about those early years, early months? What was it
Yeah,
like?
so she started seeing who is my father today, even before I was born.
Okay.
So he's always been there for me. But he was an orphan. My father is an orphan. And we just lived in a fairly small place in a very socially deprived area. And she was understandably really quite anxious because she was caring for me. She then also had to become a carer, together with myself, for my aunt, who was blind and had Down syndrome. So she was I grew up around a lot of anxiety and a lot of I guess she was so afraid of doing a bad job that she was very, very strict, um, with myself. So yeah, I I can see I'm still strict with myself because of that.
Yeah. 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 Your mother, in her teenage years, while caring for you, she also was caring for her aunt that was blind, and so you grew up with a lot of feelings of anxiety, but also that she was very strict with you.
But also very loving,
Yeah.
she, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And so those early years, have you ever done any work around healing your inner child? Have you ever heard of this type of work? Okay, so are you familiar with it, or you've actually done work around this?
I have been working with I've been doing cognitive behavioral therapy in the UK the whole of 2020, and there was a lot of childhood trauma work, which gave me this, I guess, the self-awareness that I need to realize why I behave the way I do, or why certain things affect me. And I'm just reading now How to Do the Work by the holistic psychologist. She recently written, so yeah, I'm enjoying that one, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah. So beautiful. I just want to acknowledge you that you have this already a huge awareness, and that sounds like you've done some work around it. Yeah. So my question to you is, have you, in addition to having that awareness around your younger self, have you actually been able to go back, and whether it's a guided visualization or meditation with someone that can actually support you live, or whether it's a recording, have you been able to go back in time and
No.
inner parent your inner child?
No, I haven't. And it
Is that
sounds great.
something? Is that something you would be willing to do today?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. And so when you did that work, the inner child work, and what came up for you, if you had to, what came forward for you when you did that work that was insightful?
So I guess something that came up for me was that I struggled to regulate my central nervous system because, my father regulates his with alcohol, and my mother with food or with emotional addiction. So I think that can explain, like, yeah, I think that explains why I can find it difficult to regulate my central nervous system. Also, self-esteem was a huge issue, really. My therapist said that's probably what she thought the biggest issue was for me. And and I I experienced quite a lot of fear,
Mm,
which I feel it might be because of how unpredictable my environment used to be. Um,
I think you paused for a second, Jessica. Can you hear me?
yeah,
Your video's paused. Okay, there you are again. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. So what I'm hearing is that you're having difficulty, for as long as you know, to calm your nervous system, and that you grew up in an environment where it wasn't really modeled on how to really self-soothe yourself. You mentioned your mother had an addiction with food, your father, stepfather, with alcohol. Mhm. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
So what I would love to invite you is that we can actually go back in time to when you were in your mother's womb, if that's something that comes forward today. Because what's happened is that you took on a lot of the pain and the grief of your mother. Have you heard that before? Yeah.
I'm sure it feels right. It makes sense what you've said.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a lot of what you're actually feeling and what you've endured and what you've taken on, and literally your body physically when you were in utero with your mother, it wasn't yours. It wasn't yours. So as much as it sounds like you had a therapist, you're reading the book, you're doing all the things, like logically you get it, but your body remembers, and so it's not about having explicit memories. Like, we won't remember how we were feeling or thinking in utero, but the implicit memories, like how did that actually impact you in your body, in your nervous system. Because what's happening right now is that you are on fight or flight. Like, there's a threat because you were just this beautiful, perfect spiritual being that is coming into the world, and you just took on a lot of that from your mother. And what happens is our lungs, you mentioned you had asthma issues. Our lungs, traditional Chinese medicine, is that it's connected with our grief. So if we weren't able to um, whether we took on grief, or we haven't processed grief, or we just haven't been able to feel that full breath of emotions and release it, like we haven't been able to have that really deep, beautiful, like conscious breath, and it's just like there's just so much stuck here. So that's what's coming forward for me. And how's that landing with you?
Really well, yes. It really makes perfect sense.
Mm, mm, mm. And I just want you to know, Jessica, that I speak from this, not just from, helping other clients, but I've been there as well. I've done some work around this because, and I'll just be totally transparent, my mother had a lot of trauma when she was pregnant with me. So I went through life just feeling not confident, feeling just just anxiety as well. And when I was able to just go to that very primal feeling of, we don't remember, but just accessing it and just letting whatever needs to come out, because again, emotions is just energy, that there is a release. There is a sense of letting go and cleaning it out, so that you're not holding it onto it anymore. So would you be willing for us to go there and see what comes forward?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, it's the
Okay.
first time doing anything like this, but
Mm,
um, I feel I feel very good about it.
mm. Okay, beautiful. I'm feeling honored. So I'm going to invite you, if you feel safe, to go ahead and close your eyes once more. I'm going to ask you to place your hand over your heart as you close your eyes, and just taking some deep conscious breaths, just releasing any tension from the start of this session. Take a deep breath in through the nose and release. One more deep inhale and release. Let it go. Beautiful. And with your eyes closed, Just see if you can start to notice just yourself feeling in your seat. Feel yourself in your body. Maybe start to feel the beating of your heart against your hand. And just really feel into knowing that you're safe in this moment. Your body is safe. You are safe. Just breathing in, breathing out, allowing yourself to become present once more. And when you're ready, just see if you can tune into that feeling of what it felt like to have asthma. Maybe something's coming to mind, feeling in your chest, or trying to breathe. What comes forward for you?
Fear.
Fear. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And rushing to the hospital.
Rushing to, what was that again?
Rushing to the hospital.
Rushing to the hospital, yeah. Okay, how old are you?
Maybe like 7.
7 years old?
Yeah. Maybe 9, sorry.
Okay, 9 years old? Yeah. Tell me more about this fear. Do you feel it in your body somewhere?
Here.
Your throat? Okay. What does it feel like?
Like I just want to cry loudly.
Mm-hmm. You want to cry loudly? If you had to give it a color, is there a color at all? Do you see a color or light?
No.
No color? Okay. Is there a texture at all?
Maybe like reflection of the water when the water is moving and it's flat, but very dark.
Reflection of water, but dark. Okay. Is there a shape at all to this feeling of fear in your throat?
Like quite square.
It's a square. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I want you to just stay with that. If you can visualize that square in your throat, reflection of water, but it's still a sense of dark. And you mentioned this wanting to cry loudly. Is there a sound that this square has? Does it want to cry? Does it want to scream? Is there a sound to it wants to make?
I think it wants to be quite quiet.
It wants to be quiet.
Like I feel like I want to cry with my throat, but still quietly, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to cry but be quiet, quietly. Okay. So I'm just going to ask you to we're just going to breathe into this feeling in your throat. We're just going to breathe into it. Keep your awareness on it. Know that this feeling in your throat, just acknowledge it. And we're just going to invite it to release. Yeah? Okay, so when you're ready, just inhaling through your nose and open your mouth, exhale with sound. When you're ready, Jessica. Exhale out with sound. Good. And just continue to do that as you beautiful. Good. Give it some sound. Yes. And what's happening now to the square or that reflection of water or darkness?
The square seems quite dissolved, if that's the way to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, that's really.
Is there still a feeling of wanting to say that again, Jessica? There's a bit of a delay in the recording.
Sorry, no, I don't feel like I want to cry anymore for now.
Okay, beautiful. Okay. So go ahead and just keep your eyes closed. You can keep your hand over your heart or you can bring it down, whatever you feel comfortable in this moment. Allow yourself to trust your own inner experience. And so just from this feeling of being able to yourself calm your nervous system, I'm going to invite you now, your adult self, to go to your 9-year-old self. Maybe she's on her way to the hospital or she's already at the
Sorry, you froze. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes. I don't know what happened. Apologies, Jessica.
That's okay.
Okay. Okay, we're going to go ahead and allow yourself just to come back to that space, closing your eyes. Allow yourself to return to your inner experience. See if you can go up to your 9-year-old self. Do you see her? Okay. I'm going to invite you now to maybe you want to reach out for her hand. Maybe you want to reach out for her face. And go ahead and just ask her, is there anything you'd like to share with me? And what does she say?
I'm scared.
Yeah. What else does she want to say?
I think I'm scared. I just see myself sat on the arm of the sofa, and my mum and dad very scared. Yeah, it's just really made me fear what I think she's feeling.
Yeah, so she said, I'm scared. What else does she want to tell you? Does she want to say anything to you that she wasn't able to say for herself back then?
She can't say anything else really. Yeah, well, like all that comes to my head is I'm scared, and I hope I get to the hospital on time. for oxygen. It's just quite chaotic.
So go ahead.
Chaotic fear around me.
Chaotic fear. So I'm going to invite you now, as your older self, to go ahead and tell her, reassure her. Let her hear the things that you perhaps didn't hear when you were younger from your mother or your dad. And go ahead and say those things out loud when you're ready.
Everything will be okay, and you will be safe. And if you're not, there's not much point worrying about it now. Anyway, and you can help control your breath with your mind.
Yeah.
And you will make it another day.
Beautiful. Does she want to say anything back to you, or she just want to just take that in and receive it?
I wish I knew that sooner.
And what do you want to say to her in return?
Better late than never. Nothing you can do about it now. You will learn this one day.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to tell her?
No, I don't think so.
Does she want to do anything with you? Does she want to walk with you or anything? Take your hand.
Hug me.
Yeah.
And hug my mother and tell her that everything will be okay.
Yeah. So go ahead and just do that. Allow yourself to receive that. Hugging your 9-year-old self. Hugging your mother. Knowing that everything's going to be okay. I'm just going to invite you to put your hand back over your heart if you feel safe to do so. And you can keep hugging your 9-year-old self and your mother, but I'm going to invite you now to just take some deep conscious breaths. I'm going to invite you to remember this feeling and associate with breath. You mentioned that you can help control your breath with your mind. So I'm going to invite you to do that right now in this moment. So when you're ready, just taking deep inhale and deep exhale. Breathing in, breathing out. And just keep doing that in your own breath, in your own rhythm. Feel yourself alive in this moment. Feel your expansion of your lungs, taking a breath, knowing that you are safe, that you are loved, that you are wanted in this world. I'm going to invite you to tell your 9-year-old self that. You can do it silently or out loud. We are waiting for you.
You're wanted in this world.
Yeah. And that we are waiting for you.
We're waiting for you.
You want to say anything to her in this moment?
You will be well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So just keep breathing, knowing that you're safe and you're well, that you're wanted in this world, that you wanted to come here, that you are here for a reason. Keep breathing. Allow yourself to feel your breath, deep, conscious breaths. And then when you're ready, just you can whisper something in your 9-year-old self and say any parting words, but let her know that you're always there for her, and that she's safe and she's loved, whatever it is you want to tell her.
She should trust her gut.
Yeah. 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 And whatever it is you want to do with her, just allow yourself to receive that. Mm.
I think just laugh, smile, and relax.
Beautiful. And just slowly bringing your awareness back into your conscious body. And when you're ready, and then bowing your head and opening your eyes so that the first thing you see is yourself. Bringing movement to your fingers and your toes. And coming back into this space. So I'm going to invite you for another 2-word check-in after that. It's 2 words to describe how you're feeling in this moment.
Light.
Mm.
I don't know if this is a feeling, but released.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So light and released. Beautiful. And I feel that. I feel that as well over here on this side. Yeah. So I'm going to encourage you, Jessica, do you have a journaling practice?
I have a journal by my bedside table, but I struggle to keep up with the practice or to really get stuck in and write the the thoughts that I'm able to identify in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so maybe what could be really good for you is release writing. Have you ever heard of release writing?
No, but I'm going to make a note if you
Okay.
don't mind.
Mhm. Okay. So release writing is different from journaling, whereas journaling, we write with the intention that we're going to keep it. Maybe we'll reflect back on it one day. Whereas release writing, again, it's just another healthy tool to release those emotions, that energy, wherever we're feeling stuck. It's just a pure stream of consciousness. It may not even make sense. At some point, it may even look like chicken scratch because you're just writing. And then allow yourself to have no attachment to whatever it is that came forward and rip it up and burn it. Have you ever heard of that before?
I haven't.
Okay.
Just
So,
making a note.
yeah. So that's what's coming
That's
forward for, yeah, go ahead.
sorry. No, yeah, go ahead.
So that's what's coming forward for me. For some reason, there's a resistance around journaling, and perhaps if we ever do another session or you decide to work with me, we could explore that. But what's coming forward for me is that you just need more release. And when there's the release writing, there's no filter, there's no edit, because we know that no one else can read it. We know that it's not going to exist somewhere in our house and one day, so it's just a pure stream of consciousness. And I have the feeling that that's what you need right now, is that there's no edit, there's no filter. If you're angry, if you're sad, that you just let it rip. And usually 10 minutes is the sweet spot. So if you can set an alarm for 10 minutes, and then if you feel like you want to go over, great. If you feel like, okay, I feel complete now, then you can, and then rip it up and burn it. So of course you want to be cautious of where you burn it. Usually I do it like in an abalone shell, or if you have a pot or a pan, something that's non-flammable. And again, it's just the process of having this ritual to access the subconscious mind. So I don't know if you're familiar with, right, conscious mind, subconscious mind, the iceberg theory, like 95% of what controls our lives is our subconscious mind, which are these suppressed, repressed memories from our childhood. And so we're just trying to lower the water level a little bit each time, so that we can bring whatever's subconscious to the conscious and we can release it. And it's not so much about being attached. What is it? Do I have to talk about it? Talk therapy. It's just acknowledge it wants to go. It's ready to be healed, and to release it. So how does that feel to you to do a release writing?
Just the thought of doing it is very soothing.
Mm,
So I think that's a good sign, and I did just tell myself to trust my gut feeling, and I think that could be really helpful because
mm,
I think the burning it could really make a difference.
mhm. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, so the subconscious mind, it really reacts well to rituals, right? So writing it, again, that accesses the subconscious mind. There's something really scientific where it accesses that the right side, where it's the more intuitive, and also the subconscious mind, it's not that logical left side. And like you're saying, like burning it. And I love how you've actually used the word soothing, because for you it's about finding those practices that you can self-soothe, that you
Mm.
can start to calm your nervous system, find what resonates for you, and do those things knowing that you are empowered to calm your nervous system and self-soothe. How does that land
Sounds
with you?
very good.
Mm, yeah. And you mentioned something, and you've said it again, about trusting your gut. You mentioned in the visualization to your younger self, you should trust your gut. So I would even invite you to explore what that is in your release writing if you want. Because I think you mentioned there were some gut issues growing up, or if it's still current with you. And as they say, right, the gut is almost considered the second brain. So there's something there as well. And your younger self, being able to trust her inner experience, trust her gut, like what's true for her. So allowing yourself to, whatever that is now, whatever that was before, just let it come up, let it come up, and then see how you feel. If there's something else that you want to do around that, then just explore, be curious, like what is it that you haven't been able to experience, explore, and trust.
Oh, sorry, say that again.
Did it stop? Is it not good, the connection? I don't know where I
uh,
left you. where you,
Sorry, was it a question around what is it that I can't experience and trust?
Oh, okay, let's see. So just maybe because you've mentioned a few times that you should trust your gut. You mentioned it here consciously with me, as well as telling your younger self. And if I recall correctly, you mentioned you've had some gut issues. So maybe exploring what that means for you, trusting your gut. You can do that in your release writing and see what comes up. Because as they say, our gut is our second brain. So if you weren't able to express or explore or to experience whatever your inner
Okay.
gut was telling you your younger self, that it's been suppressed. So this is an invitation, a beautiful invitation, because it's not too late to explore what was that for you, your younger self. What was your gut telling you? What is it that she didn't get to say, to express, emote, and experience? How does that land with you?
Yes, well, yeah, I think that would be very helpful as well
Mhm.
because, yeah, there's definitely a lot I wasn't allowed to say or to feel or
Mm.
to do, and I think that would definitely, it feels like it could help release.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautiful. So yeah, that would be my encouragement, is if you can do that, if you can do that, quite soon, just because you're already in that kind of energy, if you will, where you're quite open right now. So my invitation would be to do that. I know it's evening there right now in Australia. So would you be willing to do that release writing tomorrow?
Yes, I
Mm-hmm.
will do it when I wake up. I'm gonna
Oh,
do it the
okay,
first thing I do.
amazing. Beautiful. And so on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the most committed, how committed are you to do that tomorrow morning?
10.
Amazing. Okay, so I'm going to invite you, after you've done the release writing in the morning, after you've ripped it up and burned it, just going to invite you just to send me a message and just let me know that you've done it, to hold
Will
yourself
do.
accountable. And just, you can give me another 2-word check-in. How do you feel after you've done that? How does that sound?
Sounds good. Sounds great. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, so that's a practice that you can do at any time. It's also a really good practice if you feel like you can't get to sleep and there's just like swirling thoughts that are going around. Like, that's a practice that you can always turn to anytime, and just do that and just see what comes forward. And then possibly at some point, if you feel like, okay, I want to try the journaling practice when it feels safe for you, then maybe that's an invitation when you're ready to try that practice.
Thank you very much for your guidance and for your time. I really feel much like my chest feels much lighter than
Mm.
um, when I started the call. So thank you so
Mm.
much.
Oh, beautiful. My pleasure, Jessica. And yeah, just know that you are exactly where you need to be, that you are always, always supported and guided, even if at times we feel we're not. And it's been really my honor, and just keep doing that one thing daily, whether it's finding those self-soothing practices, just taking some deep conscious breaths when you're feeling some fear, resistance, or lack of confidence. Just close your eyes, breathe. Because I think for you, that's going to be really powerful, because you mentioned that it's like you can control your breath with your mind. And for you, it was hard to find the breath when you were younger, since you were born. So it's like allowing yourself, your adult self, your younger self, to feel your breath, to know that you are alive, and to know that you are meant to be in this world.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Mm, my pleasure, Jessica. Okay, well, thank you so much. And yeah, I look forward to seeing your message and how you felt after you did the release writing yesterday.
Thank you. I will let you know tomorrow. Thank you so much and have a good day.
Amazing. You too, Jessica. Thank you.
Take care. Bye. Bye.
Bye. All right. All right. Let's all just take a deep breath after our session. Just sending love and light to Jessica, and so much healing. Just again, want to acknowledge Jessica for coming on here today and allowing herself to, yeah, just saying yes to wanting to change, and to be here, to be seen and to heard, because I really do believe that when we allow ourselves to be seen and heard for the truth and the vulnerability of who we are, that's where the healing takes place, not just for ourselves, but for others in this world. And so thank you again, Jessica, for coming on and being so vulnerable and sharing. So that's it for our purpose, weekly purpose breakthrough. Thank you so much for everyone that has joined us today. If again, you are feeling called to come on and receive some free coaching with me, then do send me a private message, or you can just drop a comment underneath this video and say that you're interested, and we will connect. And yeah, so just a little bit of takeaways from that, from some of you that may not be so familiar with inner child work, just to just kind of put that out there. This is a lot of the work that I do with my clients. This is really where the healing, I believe, the healing and the transformation takes place when we can really start to access our subconscious mind, and we can start to shift out of that old paradigm, all those patterns, those stories and limiting beliefs that a lot of it is not our own, that we took on from our caregivers, mostly our parents, from our education, our school, our culture, our society. And so it's really about how to release any of those ener- energy, those emotions, so that we can really start to feel light, that we can start to feel free, that we can start to feel happy and remember the truth of who we are. Because really, you, each and every one of you, are perfect, whole, and complete just as you are. And really, this life is about remembering that. Okay, everyone, blessings. Bye, everyone.